Anytime you're ready.
Jim, I'd like to know what Rotary Club you're in and how long you've been in Rotary. When did you join?
I've been in Rotary since 1972, and I joined in Morehead City, 1972, the first time.
And so that's the Rotary Club of Morehead City.
That's
right?
correct. It was the only club at that time.
Okay, wonderful. Tell me about your favorite memory of Rotary in all the years you've been in Rotary.
I would say it's the fellowship, and the friends that I've met, and the people that I have been associated with. And I just felt so very honored when I was invited to come as a guest and talk, and just see what goes on. And I did it and said, yes, I'd like to be a part of it.
So,
Ask him to state the question in his
yes,
response.
yeah, I do. I'll remind you that if you preface it with, I'm a member of the Rotary Club of Morehead City,
Right,
and I've
gotcha.
been in there since 1972, so try to put part of the question into your response, all right?
Okay.
Yeah, we talked about it, but it's hard to remember, I know that. Is there a particular project you remember that sticks in your mind as being meaningful to you in Rotary?
Yes, there was one project that Gordon Thayer and I handled, and we handled a golf tournament at Bow Banks Country Club, and we had a lot of fun doing that and a lot of club involvement.
And what's the best service opportunity that you've been involved in?
I think it has to be carts, the best project, and with the best results.
And can you tell me what CART is?
It's the Coins for Alzheimer's Research Trust, and it is for the study and hoping to kill Alzheimer's, get it under control.
Absolutely, absolutely. When you first joined the club back in 1972, who invited you, and what was the club like back in 1972?
When I joined the club in 1972, I was visited by Bill Chalk and Harvey Josden Jr. And I had not even heard of Rotary. I'd seen the signs at the city limit, and we talked for a while, and I happened to already know both of those gentlemen through the church. And but they told me that they invited me to come in to a meeting, and I went to a meeting, and then they told me that the meeting was just to let me meet the people at the club and see what they were about. And it eventually worked out that they invited me to join. And then they told me other people that were in it. And it was such a privilege and an honor to be associated with them, and that it made it sound like being invited was really a special thing. And it was. And I've always felt that it was, I'd said, boy, this is a real invitation to a new community, and a way to fit in and be of service and be of importance in a community.
Excellent, I think you're right. Now tell me a little bit, do you know things about, you said Harvey Jocelyn and Bill Chalk, and obviously they reached back much further in the history of the club. Did you know anything about what they did in the club or what the club did before you joined?
I did not know much about. I knew Bill Chalk very well and in fact, he's got two sons in our club now. But he was the second generation. I think his father had been a charter member, and back in 1925. And Bill, I knew very well. At that time, I was going to the First Methodist Church, and it was still called the First Methodist Church then, and is again now. But I met him there, and we were in the same Sunday school class, and I got to know him, and I knew he was in the insurance business, and I had car insurance through his company since I was 18 years old and didn't know it because I had never been here. But my parents lived in Carteret County after they moved to Carteret County just 3 weeks after I went in the military. And so this became my new home base. And he was sort of a figurehead in this community and very well respected, a good man, and I was very much impressed with Bill and considered him a good friend. And then Harvey Joslin was he was a retired naval aviator, and he grew up here, and but his he was at that time he was working for the school system. He was a teacher at West Carteret, and on a few occasions I went out and spoke to his class for him. So, but I liked Harvey was a good man. In fact, everybody in the club was good people. If they were not good people, they wouldn't still be there.
Thank you. That's very good. Now, when you spoke to them, they didn't talk about any of the accomplishments of the club or the pride they had in things that had happened before you got into the club?
They just told me about the club and the fact that you had to be invited to join, that you couldn't just walk up and join. And so that made it sort of special that I've been chosen, and I thought that was a good thing. It was an honor to be in it, and as a young whippersnapper that I was then, it made me feel important. And I was you had classifications, and you could have one person on a classification, and I was plant manager of a company that used to be very near here, right across the street, was Bluebell, and I was the manager of the Bluebell at that time, and just a young man, and I loved it here, and I loved the people, and this has been my new home since that time. I left Bluebell many years later and wound up renting the building when they closed down and leased the building that they were in, and I ran my own business there for another 19 years. I was the last occupant of the building.
That's right, and then it got torn down. Let me ask you this. You were owner of your own business, you had employees.
Yes.
You were a respected community member. The four-way test is something that's very important to Rotary. How did the four-way test, once you became aware of it, affect how you lived your life and how you ran your business?
I didn't have to do too much with the four-way test because that was always my creed. Very much not the same words in the same order, but in my factory, I had copies of the four-way test printed out, and I gave one to every supervisor or everyone who had responsibility in the factory. And we had a copy of it on the wall in my office. And it's very important, you know, the things we think, say, and do, you know. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Will it be beneficial to everyone concerned? You cannot go wrong with that. And it's a good way to live your life. I've tried to live my life that way, and I've tried to bring my children up to live the same way. I was trained like that from the time I was a little child.
You bring tears to my eyes, Jim, really. That's the way you said that. Thank you. Is there anything else memorable about Rotary that you would like to share for posterity?
Well, I'm not much for flowery words about things, but it's a very good organization, and you'll get out of it sort of what you put in it.
You're right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And you got my heart with that four-way testimony, Jim, really. And I can't guarantee what's gonna go into the final video, but what you said there that got my heart. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming, and thank you for sharing your story about Rotary, and you know I treasure you.
Thank you.
You know you mean so much to me, and
Do me a big favor.
Sure.
Say your name and then spell your name for the camera.
My name is James Garner. Call me Jim. Garner is Garner.
That's a local name.
It is.